Back in Bloomington, the Indiana lead cut down to 9, and that is due to Rachel Nagel heating up from the field. Just 2 points at halftime, but she has been connecting lately.
Absolutely. Comes out firing in the second half. You see it there. 3 of 3 from three-point. 9 points already here in the third quarter. Really been the spark to the fire for the UC Davis Aggies. But Tyra Buss trying to put that fire out just a little bit, slow it down, and she knocks down a free throw.
Nagel, a second-team All-Big West player. 12 points on Friday against Kansas State in the win. And Cahill working extra. She gets the rebound. It's Buss for 3 off the side of the backboard. And away with it comes UC Davis.
And those are big shots right there. If they fall, Indiana can go right back into their runs. But now Birch trying to get it done at the other end. Gets bumped a little bit by Cahill down low.
Third foul on Amanda Cahill. She leads Indiana right now with 18.
That's going to be really interesting going forward as Royster has 3, Cahill has 3. Really the 2 post players for Indiana. You could bring in Bree Wickware and Marchese, but they do a very nice job defensively on Birch as she knocks down the first.
Birch very nimble. She really can make some moves down low. She misses the second free throw. So 1 of 2 from the line. The lead still Indiana's by 9. You mentioned it, 16-0, leading at halftime for Indiana, but they are getting a run for their money here today against the Aggies.
They had a game last year against Purdue in the Big Ten tournament as Buss takes it to the rack yet again. But Indiana was up on Purdue by 17 points at halftime. They ended up losing that game in the Big Ten tournament 2 seasons ago. So they obviously have going to keep that in mind here in this one. They're up 20 at halftime in this one, as Birch is going to try to answer.
And she can. It's Buss back the other way. The Hoosier lead back in double figures. And Terry Morin telling Indiana to slow it down. Content to use some clock, but they still got to have a sense of urgency. Yaney off the handoff, and she's blocked out of bounds. It's going to stay here.
Yeah, Eaton did a very nice job coming around that screen. You'll see it here. Yaney came off of it. Eaton got over the top, but Birch was there as well. A nice job defensively by the Aggies, knowing what's being run and getting in front of it to snuff it out.
Jalen Penn back in the game, and it's always tough with these quick turnarounds, kind of knowing what these tendencies are of their opponents. It's been a very quick turnaround. They played on Friday in Manhattan, Kansas, and now here they are in Bloomington. The Hoosiers with 15 to shoot. Here's Buss. Now under 10. Penn with the basketball. Something's got to give here for Indiana. 3 to shoot. She doesn't know. She puts it up and gets it to fall. Tyra Buss.
You talk about using the clock to the fullest extent. Buss does it right there. A little trickery to finish it off.
And she gets her hand in there on Birch and forces the turnover. Buss with 19. Some of the fans on their feet here in Bloomington. Hoosier lead back up to 13. And a moving screen on Royster. And that is her 4th foul. And quickly, Bree Wickware will come to the scorer's table.
So I mentioned Amanda Cahill's got 3. Royster now with her 4th. Bree Wickware is going to have to come in. They still have Lindsay Marchese on the bench as well. Marchese's only got 2 fouls to her name, but that foul trouble could become very important going into the latter part of this third quarter into the 4th, especially with Birch starting to catch fire a bit.
So we'll see what UC Davis has in them. Just 11 minutes to play in this game. 1 minute left in this third quarter. Eaton gets it, middle of the paint, and she hits.
Impressive little shot there, just cut right across the paint, lost the handle, puts up a shot, knocks it down.
8 points for her. And UC Davis just hanging around right now. Buss, she's gonna lift from 3, and she's gonna knock it down. What a third quarter for Tyra Buss.
And Tyra Buss is pumped up. Assembly Hall getting on their feet. It's gonna get loud here in the last 38 seconds.
The Hoosier lead up to 14. Here's Birch on Cahill, and it's gonna be a foul on, it looks like, Amanda Cahill. That's her 4th foul, and that is a big one because she has been marking Morgan Birch in this ball game.
And the expression says it right there from Teri Moore, and puts her hands over her face. 4 fouls on Cahill and Royster. We'll see it again here. It looked like Cahill didn't really do a whole lot. Buss got in there, got a hand in. The Hoosier faithful not too happy about it. But nonetheless, Royster and Cahill both with 4 fouls apiece. Teri Moore's going to try to plead her case, ask what went wrong down there. But Birch will be at the line for 2 shots, and these could be some big free throws going ahead.
And it's no good. So Teri Moore trying to talk with one of the officials to see what went wrong there. And one more shot now coming. And she gets it to fall. So a few subs on here for the end of the quarter. Maybe just buy some of the starters some rest. With 30 seconds left, and we'll see that press once again from UC Davis.
So a 13-point game right now. 4 fouls apiece to Cahill and Royster have been an impact in this game, especially Cahill. The Buss has really turned it on this 3rd quarter. We'll look to see if she gets the ball to end it out.
And Yaney dribbling it around. She pulls it out and finds Buss. She will hold for presumably the last shot. Buss with 22, 9 of 18 shooting, 2 of 6 from behind the arc. It's Jalen Penn now with it. She's gonna pull up. No good. Rebound to Sierra Hall. 2 seconds. Eaton gets it at midcourt, throws it up, and it's wide left. No good. And that will end a very exciting 3rd quarter. Still a lot of basketball left to be played. Indiana leads by 13. 10 more minutes. We'll be right back at Assembly Hall. Top of the 2nd here in Bloomington, Indiana. A beautiful night for baseball. Probably one of the better nights Indiana has played here in Bloomington. Just a brutal winter, but tonight's nice.
Having sat through some of those games, I can hardly agree with you. This is balmy by comparison to some of the nights when it was in the 30s, 40s, even in the 50s when it felt like it was in the 30s. And I can tell you the fans are pleased with that. That's why we have such a good crowd tonight.
It is a very good crowd, and Indiana in their pink jerseys for sorority night here at the ballpark as Michael Massey drills this at Jeremy Houston at shortstop. Quick throw over to first, and that's out number 1.
Yeah, pink shirts for sorority night. There's another T-shirt giveaway going on. I just learned about the Grand Slam hamburger, which sounds awesome, if not a heart attack also.
Yeah, that's a big burger at the ballpark. If you come out to Bart Kaufman Field, it's a lot of meat and cheese, basically, with a fried egg on top.
And there are still seats available, so come on down, put your order in for the 2 patties with the fried egg and some bacon too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Now it's Doran Turchin coming to the plate, left fielder, hitting .240 on the season. Stever once again ahead with strike 1. And there's that breaking ball, and it's strike 2 quickly.
Yeah. Well, all I can tell you so far is Stever is working very efficiently. And it's what you want to see. I'm sure that's what the pitching coach wants to see. He's looking right in. He's ready to go. As soon as the guy's in the box, he's there.
16 pitches so far for Jonathan Stever. Here is the 17th, and it's fouled out of play.
94 miles an hour.
Yeah, that velocity has been up a tick a bit tonight as well. He's been in those mid to kind of high 90s.
He hit 95 and 96, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is a little bit higher than normal, but Stever really feeling it out there tonight.
Yeah.
Knows his team needs a bounce back.
Yeah.
Here's the 0-2. It's in the dirt.
One thing is that IU plays well at home, and that's really been their strength this year. And the thing that's been holding them back, if anything's holding them back, has been their road record. They'd like to be higher in the conference, so they're looking for a strong home series here to rectify that.
Here's the 1-2. It's outside. And speaking of that home record, 16-3 compared to 7-5 away from Bart Kaufman.
Yeah. The other thing is, many of those games played in cold, bad weather.
Yeah, it's been tough to even get games in. A lot of doubleheaders so far. Here's the 2-2. Right there on the outside corner. Strikeout number 4 for Jonathan Stever.
Could be setting up to be a long evening for Illinois if he keeps that up. 4 out of 5 batters have struck out.
Just straight paint right there from Stever. Feynman barely has to move his glove.
Yeah. And I've heard Coach Lemonis talk, too, about the weather and so forth and how that can be, you know, discouraging, disappointing. You want to play baseball in beautiful weather. It's a summer game, really, when it comes right down to it. But they've hung in through a lot of that bad weather.
And it's been Indiana and Illinois as Jack Yalowitz swings through strike one. But Jonathan Stever has been on his game here today. Already 4 strikeouts, and he has 5 outs. And the 0-1 right there on the inside corner again. And we've seen 0-2 already a few times here tonight.
I don't believe he's really been behind anyone at this point. Simply not messing around.
Just absolutely cruising. 70 strikeouts now this season for Jonathan Stever. And there is 71 as they'll have to throw it down to first. Feynman does just that. And how about that from Jonathan Stever? 5 out of the first 6 Fighting Illini down on strikes. We head to the bottom of the second. It's still Indiana 2 and Illinois nothing.
But everybody is trying to catch Beta right now as they're setting up potentially for another exchange. It looks like this is just what they're doing, a lot of short sprints for everybody.
At the end of the race, they're trying to keep it hot, and they'll lose a little bit on the exchange, but they've kept it fast. So now this will bring it back to, as the Beta riders exchanging up to speed, that's Colton. He is going into turn number 1. The pack is coming out of turn number 4.
So about a quarter of a lap, just shy of a quarter of a lap, is the difference. 193 laps scored. Kappa Sigma has fallen well behind. Their day could be done. Pi Lambda Phi also well behind, but right now we're all keeping our eye on Beta Theta Pi coming around near towards turn 4.
And Eric Anderson out there animated. Their pit coach said, let's go. This is it. This is our strategy. This is how we want to win the race. 6 laps to go. You just need 6 more to hang on. Sean Marks doing a lot of work, not getting any help from anyone else. Behind him is Grey Goat. Logan Tisdale, freshman. So that might just be a little bit of inexperience on the Grey Goat part. He just doesn't pull through for Marks, and so that pack isn't working together effectively.
And about a 10-second, that's unofficial, 10-second difference between Beta and the rest of the pack.
And as we come across the start-finish line for the Betas, this will be 5 laps to go. 195 scored, 5 laps to go at the start-finish line.
So 195 laps scored. It's been a race where it's been pretty close all day. It was slow for a while on a pretty nice day, but just shy of a 9-second difference now between Beta and the rest.
Grey Goat's really putting it down, probably coming in for an exchange. And now this gap is dwindling very quickly. So now it's way less than a half straightaway, and on the exchange, I think it will come back together.
So we saw Beta here in these last 10 to 7 laps really
Coach Anderson keeping him out. That was very, very savvy coaching by Coach Anderson to keep him out, because that exchange would have brought it back together.
So about a 3-second difference now. It is really dwindling down for Beta, and you just wonder how long they can stay in with all these sprints.
4 laps, less than 4 laps to go. We're on 196 scored. So I do think it will be a sprint, though. I think that Beta will be very comfortable on the front, and I would suspect he'll slot in for the sprint.
So we are setting up for a very exciting finish. 196 laps scored. Beta makes the exchange, bike-to-bike exchange.
And let's see, is he going to look behind his shoulder, or is he just going to run off the front?
And it looks like he's just going to go off the front. It's Jack McNamara.
197.
197. You can see the pace starting to pick up. They're trying to catch McNamara of Beta coming around turn 2. It's getting really close now as SAE, Bears, Black Key Bulls are all playing catch up along with Phi Psi.
And I really like the position of Xavier Martinez. He's been following wheels this whole time, as has Sigup, as have the Cutters, those 3 teams. And so it's all back together. And when we come across the line, it'll be 2 to go until the finish.
Joe Krahulik's on the bike for SAE. On the bike for Beta is Jack McNamara. Riley Figg on the bike for Bears. And boy, do we have a finish now with Jet Black making a move to take the lead. But Beta has fallen back. 198 laps scored. We're about to see the white flag.
Upon the start-finish line, Chappie Blackwell will give them the, yep.
Now it's Sig Epp. Just a whole lot of change at the top right now.
Sig Epp goes to the front. Charlie Hicks leading it out.
Who is it going to be?
BKB.
Now it's BKB as we are about to see the white flag from Chappie Blackwell. This is going to be the bike race, and what a finish we have. Here comes Grey Goat. It's Cutters as well. Black Key Bulls and Sig Epp following right behind. But it's Cutters and Grey Goat. They lead going into turn 2. Sam Stratton on the bike right now for Grey Goat. He's trying to pull, but it's Cutters pulling ahead. Cutters, the leaders coming around turn 3. Now it's Grey Goat catching up. Blackie Bulls on the inside. It's a sprint to the finish for the 68th Little 500, and it's going to be Cutters. Cutters are back on top.
Talking about that game last year, it was a game that Indiana probably wants to forget. They were up 17 in the third quarter, but then scored just 19 points in the second half, shot just 22%. It was a loss that not only knocked them out of the Big Ten tournament, probably knocked them out of the NCAA tournament. And talking with Coach Warren before today's game, they cannot even think about last year's game. They just need to think about getting their first Big Ten win of the season.
Josh Eastern here with Marty Bikino. Went 2 for 4 tonight, broke out of a big slump. Haven't hit a home run in 3 weeks. How did it feel tonight?
Felt pretty good.
100 wins is definitely a major milestone for IU head coach Todd Yeagley, but in order to catch his dad, it might be a while. His dad, Jerry Yeagley, has 544 of them. Indiana has cruised to a 3-0 win over Old Dominion in the second round, a 2-1 win over New Hampshire in the third round, and now with the quarterfinals on Friday, they face the number 7 seed Michigan State Spartans, another Big Ten team, which means there's a little bit of familiarity between the two teams. Welcome into the Quest for 9 report. I'm Josh Eastern here from Talon Energy Stadium here in Chester, Pennsylvania. The Indiana Hoosiers advanced to the College Cup final with a 1-0 victory over North Carolina. A very hard-fought game on both sides. It took Indiana a while to get into the game, but eventually they did. It was a restart goal, and you know how much Todd Yeagley loves those restart goals. For the men's soccer team on Tuesday, they faced maybe one of their toughest matches of the season against Notre Dame. That was Tuesday. Yesterday, they got a 5-0 win over Santa Clara, but let's go to those highlights from Tuesday. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish coming into Bloomington, the number 7 team in the country against the number 1 Indiana Hoosiers. We're going to start things off in the 67th minute. Spencer Glass gets the ball on the left flank, sends it into the box, and Austin Poncho is lucky to find that ball at the back post. He sends it into the back of the net, and the Hoosiers are on the board. As you take another look at that one, Chris Hubbard in goal, not really sure what he was doing there, lets that ball go right by him. Rashard Hyacinth playing dummy, and the Hoosiers are up 1-0 going into the final 23 minutes. Then later in the second half, Kyle Diedrich gets into the box for Notre Dame. The ball appears to go into the back of the net, an own goal, but after further review, look at this ball, just goes out over the end line. Notre Dame cannot get on the score sheet. Indiana posts another clean sheet. As you take a look at the stats here, Indiana had more shots on goal. It was a game in which Coach Yeagley called a heavyweight battle between two in-state rivals. Indiana just gets that one breakthrough moment that they needed to take the 1-0 victory over Notre Dame. And it was a very big matchup in front of the 11th biggest crowd in Bill Armstrong Stadium history. And there's Austin Poncho. He was the hero in the match, but Eddie Cotton caught up with Andrew Gutman after the match.